So hello Mr. Doepfer, we're here at the Namm show and you've got a load of kind of polyphonic modules to show off, right?
Well, hi my friends from Sonicstate, I'm glad to have you here at the booth. Yes, and I wanted to show our polyphonic module series. The first one is the interface. It's a CV gate interface which can be controlled via MIDI, for example from a MIDI keyboard or a MIDI sequencer or via USB. And it is used to generate the CV and gate signals required for a polyphonic patch. The second module from the polyphonic module series is the quad VCO. It's nothing but 4 standard VCOs behind one front panel. For each VCO you have a tuning knob, you have an octave switch, you have a modulation input and control for modulation intensity, and you can switch between exponential modulation or linear modulation, and internally there is also a jumper. If you prefer pulse width modulation, you can also use pulse width modulation. Each VCO has 3 waveform outputs: triangle, sawtooth and rectangle, and it has also a sync input available which can be used as hard or soft sync. For this there's also a jumper available inside the module, and we have a common or master section which affects all modules. So we have a master tuning, you have a master octave switch and a master modulation. And another module which is useful for polyphonic patches, but not only for this, is our octal voltage controlled switch 158. It has 8 voltage controlled switches which I use here in this patch to switch between waveforms of the VCO. I have programmed the module that the first 4 switches are controlled by one button only, so I can switch simultaneously between the 4 outputs of the VCO between 2 waveforms. And another important module which is not patched now in this example is a quad VCF. You have 4 identical VCFs in there which are controlled by the same controls like frequency modulation, resonance and audio level, and you also have external CV inputs for all these functions. And here you have the audio inputs and the 4 audio outputs for the 4 filters.
So yeah, being able to have a quad filter that doesn't require having 4 different filters all kind of tuned the same way. Same with the oscillator, it just means that the polyphonic patching is that much easier.
The VCA is a little bit different because it's not only 4-fold, it's octal. And the reason is that usually in a patch you need 2 VCAs. One VCA is controlled by the envelope generator, and the second VCA, for example, controlled by the velocity CV or by an LFO. That's why we said we made an octal VCA rather than a 4-fold VCA. And what we see here is the quad ADSR. After all, we have 4 identical ADSR in there, controlled by the same controls, which is valid for all. You have attack, decay, sustain, release, and in addition you have 4 CV inputs to control attack, decay, sustain, release by external control voltages for dynamics.
So it's a quad voltage controlled ADSR.
Yeah, it's a quad voltage controlled ADSR. Yeah, these are the modules which can be used to build a polyphonic patch. What I have done here now, because to speak the truth, I'm not a friend of the standard polyphonic sounds. I use just the MIDI keyboard to generate 4 different control voltages, but I don't take the gates from the interface. I use the trigger sequencer to control the gates. So now let's listen to it. I hope we can hear it. That's what you hear now. The CVs for the chord from the keyboard. But the triggers come from the trigger sequencer. In addition, I use our small micro keyboard to transpose everything.
So the micro keyboard is also a recent addition, right?
Yeah, it's already available since 1 or 2 months. And you can play around, of course, with all the parameters. So, that's just an example for what you can do with polyphonic modules. The main idea is not simply to build a polyphonic synthesizer. If you want that, you take a standalone unit. But you can combine the polyphonic features with other modules. What I, for example, also do in this patch, I modulate the decay time from an analog sequencer, so it becomes more dynamic. Yeah. And what we also have new is our Dark Energy 3. We redesigned the Dark Energy 2 a little bit. There are no major changes. We only improved the VCO, which is now stable immediately after turning on. The Dark Energy 2 had a heater in there, and it took 15 to 20 minutes until the VCO was stable, so the new one is stable immediately. And we added reset inputs for the LFOs. A lot of customers recommended it would be a good idea to be able to reset the LFOs. We added also the waveform triangle, which is not available for Dark Energy 2, and we also improved a little bit the ADSR in the sustain mode. So, but after all, it's very similar to Dark Energy 1 or 2, only some minor changes.
And it's still got the same filter as the Dark Energy 2? Or?
Yeah. And we also have some small auxiliary modules, which you can see here. It's nothing exciting. We have a dual ADSR behind a 8 HP front panel only, and also with the possibility to control the time via an external CD.
Overall time. Okay.
Yeah, you can define internally by means of jumpers if the CV is working, is affecting all parameters, or for example only decay, because this is the main application. If you change the jumpers, you can select if the CV affects only one parameter or all. And also we have a small tool. It's nothing but a simple envelope generator followed by a VCA, and we have 2 times the circuit in there. The envelope generator can be switched between AR, AD or ADSR. In ADSR mode you have a 50% sustain, so you don't have a sustain control, it's just a 50% sustain. Yeah, I think that's what we show here in at Namm, and thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Take care.